I forgot to turn my camera on. Hey,
Usually
camera.
helps.
Okay, let's see here. Maybe the host should have his camera on. There it is. Look at that. Bada bing, bada bing. Here we are. Should have had all this set up early, but we're running anyway. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Triple T number 136. Yep. On August 6th already, 2024. What the what? Wasn't it February last month or something like that? I not sure. Anyhow, my name is TJ Zebel. I like to playfully call myself a professional problem solver. And I always follow that up with, no, I don't know everything. I just have a unique way of asking lots of questions to help people find the solutions that they're looking for. And we are live on YouTube. So, hi, Mom. And everybody else out on YouTube, appreciate you showing up. Please do all the YouTube stuff. Click the subscribe and the like and comments, and then make some more comments, and then comment on other people's comments, because I'm going to be honest, I like the comments. I'm that way. What else we got? We got a website. Yes, we do. It's the tswb.com, tswb.com, the tall, skinny white boy. That is what it stands for. Again, I don't care what you find on the internet. It's been the tall, skinny white boy before we even had internet. So there. And I offer a free, did I say free? Yes, free, no charge to you, 30-minute consultation. That is your opportunity to have 30 minutes of my time to discuss whatever you would like, any challenges you may have. And when we're done, I will let you know if we're a fit. If we are, we will find solutions to your challenges. If we're not a fit, I will let you know. And I will do my best to help you find the person that is the best fit to find those solutions for you. I get the pleasure of helping people with anxiety, phobias, PTSD. Been doing a lot of relationship stuff lately. A lot of relationship stuff. That's where we're getting some of our topics for the night. I also work with athletes from beginner all the way up to the professional level. And what else? Oh, got a tie to introduce. Every week we've been playing around having a new tie, because I've got a varied selection. I've even had a few people add some new ties for me. So, and this one, are you ready? SpongeBob square tie.
Ba-dum-bum. That's a good one.
Michael missed it. I'll have to show him when he gets on. For those of you that are on the call, please type in any topics or questions you may have for the second hour. If you're watching this for the first time, joining us for the first time, if you're out in YouTube land, please join us live, no charge. You don't even have to know how to spell NLP. But the way it works here is the first hour I've got at least 3 topics that I try to squeeze in. And then the second hour is open mic, open platform. Anybody on the call can bring up a topic or a question, and I let those on the call answer first, because I like to learn as well. And if there's anything else I can add, that's when I give my 2 centavos. Yes. And Michael, you missed the tie, so I'm not going to make you wait until we got
SpongeBob, I knew it. I saw
square
it.
tie. Huh?
You couldn't see me, but I was on. I saw it. Like it's SpongeBob.
SpongeBob square tie.
Love
I
it.
don't get an opportunity to wear this one much, so I figured tonight would be as good a night as any to premiere it.
Well, you look sharp. You've got the Johnny Cash with SpongeBob.
Yes, that would be a unique combination. Sponge in black. So, before we get going on the topics, does anybody have anything that they would like to share from the last 7 days? Any ahas? Holly.
Couple. I will say I'll have questions for the second hour if we get to them that have come up in the past week. But one of the themes that has just been going through my life, just realizing my cursor turned off, is the idea of recognizing when something is an investment rather than an expense, and also recognizing that sometimes it's okay to say that it's worth investing in yourself and in your life. So.
Absolutely. Great insight. Who wants to follow that one up? Got Mark jumping in. Awesome.
Evening.
Hello, Mark. Glad to see you on here again.
Thank you.
Appreciate your support. We're just now touching on anybody got anything they want to share from the last 7 days since we've been here. Any ahas, epiphanies, cool stuff before we move into the topics? No?
Oh, wait.
I got a thank you note from a client after our first session. A thank you email.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. I've never had one before. It was great to meet you. We seemed to connect on a whole nother level. She said, yeah, it just seemed that this was meant to be. Our dad, my birthday and my dad's birthday and your birthday are the same. It's like, and she just wanted to thank me. I've never gotten a thank you note after the first session.
How cool is that? That's
Cool as the
awesome.
moose. Cool as the moose.
Yeah. Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. Wife's in bed. She's doing better.
Oh,
She's home.
good.
So, yay.
Yes, very much yay. Many yays.
All right, that's about it.
Cool. Anybody else before we move forward? All right. Well, tonight's topics. Rebuild your tribe. Changing cards and tasty poisons. I'm going to let that sink in while you guys are like, oh. Rebuild your tribe. That should be pretty straightforward, pretty easy. As agents of change, one of the things that we're up against that sometimes we don't think about, we help our clients with all this change work. And we forget to tell them that you're not the same person. Make sure that you don't stick around with a tribe that wants to keep you who you were. I know, I've gone through a number of tribe changes, and a lot of it was travel, and now with the internet and social media, we can still stay in touch with all of our wonderfully amazing friends and family, and also our amazingly toxic friends and family. And we have to take a close look at what do we want our new life, our new kingdom to be like. What are we willing to accept? And it doesn't mean that you have to cut all of them out, like peace out, don't contact me, don't talk to me anymore, I'm outie, all of the above. But it's time to closely reevaluate the amount of time you want to invest around them, the thought process that you want to be around, what you will tolerate, how you're going to not only set your new standards and what was the word I'm looking for? Boundaries. That's the word I knew, and I knew I had it back there somewhere. Are you going to be able to hold your boundaries with the old tribe? You got to keep in mind a lot of the people from your past and from your old tribe, when they watch you change and improve, many times that's a mirror for them and can be quite uncomfortable for them. And I forgot to start that recording. That's all right. It's on YouTube, so we got that much. Back to where I was. The other thing that I've found myself having to remind my clients, there are 7 billion people on this planet. And I invest time into making sure that I teach my clients communication skills, the trifecta, echo talk, 3 magic questions, values and criteria elicitation. Not only so that they can be better at communicating with those around them, but so they can be much better at meeting new people. A while back on one of the Triple T's, I talked about building your tribe with intention. Who do you want in your new tribe? And why? If you're trying to get a business started, you might want to start hanging around some more successful entrepreneurs. Because trying to explain what you're doing to 9-to-5ers may not always make sense to them. What do you mean? You've burned up your savings to start a what? Dude, that's just stupid. How many hours you put in? I mean, we haven't seen you down at the bar for like a month. And one of the great analogies that I think it was from Mark Aceta was, when you tell somebody that you're going to run a marathon and it's your very first marathon, isn't it interesting that strangers will give you much, much more backing and encouragement than those that really know you? Friends and family are going to be the ones that are going to stand along the road of the marathon, and they'll be the only ones throwing sticks at your feet. And the people that don't even know you are out there cheering for you and encouraging you, because the people that know you, and love you will project any fears and limiting beliefs on your abilities. Lenora.
I love this topic. I'm a huge fan of it. And I don't think I would have ever had, even when I heard it on YouTube videos, that the people around you will change. Had no idea, could not even begin to remotely explain this. And especially because when you say people in a marathon are cheering for you, the spectators are absolutely cheering for you because they're out there. And I've been to marathons and I've cheered people on, and I've never actually run it, but I am screaming my head off wildly for everybody who's in it, because you feel it. They're in it, and it's just incredibly inspiring. And never once have I ever gone up to any runner going, "Are you sure you can make it? I don't know. That's a really tough distance. Are you okay? You look a little rough." I've never said that. And when you're doing things that in your own life that, okay, I'm going to start a business, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to go give a speech. I don't know. What if that happens? What if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? I just don't see it. I don't see it. And then they chirp in your ear all day long. It's incredibly frustrating because you're also wavering. And that being said, this is another reason why I highly recommend coming into this tribe or coming into similar tribes like this, because even in those moments of insecurity, Elijah shaved his beard. Sorry, got distracted. Even in those moments of insecurity.
I had an accident. I was trying to do a new style. I trimmed a bit too much on one side. Tried to even it out on the other side. It just got really messy. I was like, fuck it, we'll start over. So that's sorry.
I love it. It looks great.
But, so now I have to wear a hat because I can't be bald there and bald there as well, because it's just, I feel naked.
You look great. You might feel naked, but you look
Until
great.
it grows back, I'm wearing hats.
So I think you're going to wear hats for like 2 days, right?
Probably closer to like 10, 12 days. You know, it grows pretty quick. You know, it'll be all right. But yeah, honestly, I feel weird.
Well, it's good to see you. Sorry.
Squirrel.
Literally.
For those of you watching for the first time, understand we all have squirrels. My squirrels have squirrels who know squirrels. So.
What I love about this tribe is that, especially not just this tribe, but also when you work with coaches, there are people that are on your team cheering for you. And one thing that I had always had in the back of my mind, and I was judging myself for it. I'm like, well, yeah, of course my coach is going to support me. I'm paying them to support me. And at the same time, now being on the other side, I also look at it going, it's a choice. When somebody wants to work with you, when they take you on as a client, like if you work with a coach or a therapist, they're taking you on by choice. They don't have to do it. So understanding that, and okay, yes, at a benefit, people are getting paid, but they don't have to accept your money. They don't have to work with you. So realize that they're choosing to work with you, and also meaning they're choosing to invest their time and their knowledge and their efforts in helping you get the change you want. And when I had that shift, I was like, bananas, it was huge. And it really gives you such a different perspective of people who are truly cheering for you, who are solution oriented, who are goal seeking people, who are growth minded people, who are wanting the best for you, versus fear based people. And especially the ones that are close to you, they're not intentionally trying to bring you down. It's very unintentional. But it is, and it can possibly be, at least in my experience, it can be more persistent and more noticeable when they're close to you. Right?
Yes, absolutely. Well said. Thank you for all of that. And to tag on to that, when you've been around, when you've worked with coaches, when you've worked with people like that, pay close attention to how they make you feel, how they challenge you, because that's what you want to look for in a new tribe. And pay close attention. How do you feel when you go back to your old tribe? Are they encouraging you? And it doesn't mean that you have to excommunicate them off of the kingdom. Begone thee! I have no time for thee. But build your inner tribe, again, like I said, with intention. And go out, and that was one of the things that I liked about all the times that I've moved and traveled and all the above. I got to be whoever I represented myself as. But B, I got to start all over again building the tribe that I wanted to be around. And I learned a hard lesson a couple of times. Some tribes will invite you in much easier than others. And it feels so nice at first. I don't know anybody. Oh, hey, you're breathing. You can fog glass. Come on, join us. Yes, come on in. And then you look around after a while and you're like, ooh, now I see why you guys wanted me to come in. And the ones that were a little cautious oftentimes are the ones that you wanted to be part of, because they had the higher standards. And I've often said, you know, if you find yourself to be the smartest person in the room, it's time to find another room. And you don't have to make a big grandiose exit about it. You just simply keep meeting people, evaluating who they are, and build your tribe, whether you want to call it on the sly or whatever. And pretty soon, the other tribe is like, we ain't seen you for a minute. Where you been? Well, met a few people, and they're talking about building a business. And, you know, remember when I told you I was thinking about building a business, and you told me I was crazy in the head? Well, they don't think that way. So I've been hanging out with them for a while. And they're helping me put together a business plan. They're helping me with finding people for my website. And what have you guys been doing? Well, we did karaoke. You know, we got karaoke night on Thursdays now, and we got our fantasy sport team on Saturdays, and we get together and decide how the rest of our week is going to be depending on the games. And well, Mondays suck, and then Tuesday is 2-for-1s down at Harry's bar, but they're happy. Let them be happy, because you're building a different life than they are. Any other ahas, epiphanies, comments to add to that before we move on to the next topic? Yes, no, maybe? All right, then we'll move right in. Changing cards. Oh, who's been guilty? And you guys have been around Planet TJ long enough to know kind of what I mean by changing cards. And goes right with ABT. What does ABT stand for?
Always be testing.
Always be testing. Be testing, always, always be testing. Especially when you're working with building or rebuilding your tribe. And so with the testing, oftentimes because we like somebody, we want the best for them, and we want them to be better than they are, because we just know that if they would just change a little bit, just change this stupid habit you got, just change this little thing about your personality, you could be so much better. And it's the equivalent of going to the poker table in Vegas and being dealt an 8 and going, oh, but you could be a king. You could be a king. I mean, look, you got the color, you got that. We know there's a king right there. You could be just like it. You're made of paper. You could do it. No. Elijah.
If you play an 8 like a king in Vegas with conviction, they're all going to fold and you'll win the money.
Did not see that coming.
Mm-hmm. But we do it so much with people. And especially as we change, as we progress, as we improve, we still look at those that haven't changed. And just like with a couple of my relationship clients, the best so far, huh? If he could only change, and this part just drive me nuts, if he just... Who does he remind you of? The last 15 people that did the same thing, including my father? Okay. Can you change your father? No. Then stop trying to change the card. Get really good at testing, but also be really good at accepting what they show you. And I've said it many, many times on here, just because they're not a king or a queen or a jack doesn't mean you toss them in the trash. Every kingdom can use a 5 or above. Somebody's got to sweep the streets. And that's nothing against street sweepers. If you're watching this and you're a street sweeper, you are somebody else's king. But if you're looking for a certain somebody, or if you're building your tribe and you want your tribe to consist of 10s and higher, then stick to that. They're out there. And make sure that you're not trying to rate them higher simply to make everybody feel better. And Holly added a picture in here, but what have we got?
It's a good one.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And for those of you that can't see it, shows a beautiful Sunday. It's great for, but when you take a good close look, the small print says, except for the bad parts, what kind of movies and music are you feeding your mind? Because in that wonderful scoop of ice cream is a nasty bug that we're not going to describe, because if you've got a low tolerance for those kind of bugs, hit one of us up. We can help you with that phobia. Bing. Any ahas, epiphanies you guys want to share on that part? Yes, Elijah.
It reminds me of something. There is this theory, which is, it's not really a theory, it's kind of proven, and I've proven it to myself many times over, and that is that the way you see someone else in your mind is the best that they can be in your presence. Right? So like if I
Say that again a couple of times so that people can actually.
The way you see someone else in your mind is the best that they can be in your presence. Right?
Right.
Now, if I think someone's a loser, in front of me, they will always behave like a loser. Whether they're doing it intentionally or not. Okay? Because there are, and I don't really have time to go into all the science behind it, but a very clear-cut example, right, was this mother with her, like her 6-year-old daughter. And the daughter was like really, a challenging child, let's say, right? And she would just like in the supermarket, she would just pick things up off the shelf and throw them in the aisle and scream bloody murder. And her mother would just be like, behave yourself, God damn it. And be really, you know what I mean? Trying to keep her child under control. And she was struggling with it. And then she says, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. She says, oh, but then her grandmother comes over and she's perfectly well behaved because in her eyes, she's nothing but an angel. And you think, because her grandmother can see nothing wrong with her, that she's perfect the way she is. And so in front of her grandmother, she behaves perfectly. And I'm like, what, do you know? So we went to test this because it was an exercise given by a teacher of one of my teachers. Okay. And the exercise was that they sent half the people out the room, and then the other half that's still in the room, they're told, okay, when they come back, you're going to each pair up with one of them from outside. And what I want you to do is ask them to tell you about a problem. And then the only thing you are allowed to say is, tell me more. And obviously, when somebody is telling you about a problem and you keep saying, tell me more, they just keep digging themselves a deeper and deeper hole. Right? And the instruction we were given was, at some point, you can choose randomly. At some point, you still only able to say, tell me more, but inside your mind, visualize the other person as being happy, healthy, having moved past it and having solved it. Just imagine them as being happy and having solved it. But still, you're only allowed to say, tell me more. And we're sitting there thinking, there's no way this is going to work. And every single pair, TJ, I swear, you were just sitting there going, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. And she was saying something about being kicked out because she had a pet cat and the landlord wouldn't allow pets, and she was digging us, tell me more, tell me more. She's getting more and more agitated. And at some point, just after imagining, she said, my brother-in-law is a solicitor and maybe he can figure out a way. And she just kind of talked herself back out of the problem. And I was like, there's no freaking way. So I tested it. like relentlessly for years, and it works every time. Okay, so I'm telling you, people, the way you see the other person in your mind is the best they can be in your presence. If you're a doctor and you don't think your patient's going to survive, you need to get the fuck out the room and let someone in who believes.
Yes. Amen. 100%. And
Thank you, because that's what I wanted to say. That's what you reminded me.
but I'm so glad you brought that up that way, because another perfect scenario on that, every person that's ever dated somebody, when things are going well, they're just the most amazing person ever. And then when things go south, they are Satan.
But that's the thing. It's like, how has it gone south? You're thinking it's gone south.
Either that, or because they had this amazing image of who this person is, that person was able to get away with all sorts of stuff because they were allowed to be the best in front of that person that person believed them to be. And as soon as one little crack happened in the window pane and the glass came through and they saw the refraction, all of a sudden that the other person started showing them all these other parts of themselves that they thought they were able to keep hidden. Which is why I tell my clients, and it really struck today with one of my clients. I said, part of why the Triple P protocol for dating for my clients is to not be in a committed relationship for a year, is so that you pick your partner out of your tribe, not a random person off the street, because you will treat them and act differently around your best friend than you will around somebody that you're hoping will be the answer to your order. Michael.
That brings up a lot of stuff. And just want to do that. There we go. People can only be fake for so long. And it kind of ties in with what Elijah's saying as well. So when one person has a vision of a person and you have them see them as the best that they can be, and the other person potentially is a narcissist or being fake because they have their own agenda. And later on, they're like, oh, I'll be happy when. And this person is always trying to get back to that happy medium. So those are tough things to look at.
This is another one of the reasons why you're always testing.
Yes. Yep. Always testing. You guys have heard me say it many times. When my wife heard me talking about that, she was like, oh yeah, but you're not testing us anymore, right? And I'm like, no, always testing. She's like, what? I'm like, no, always. And it's not to find flaws, it's to see where are we? Where, are we healthy? Are we in alignment? Are we drifting?
If nothing else, just practice your powers of observation.
Yes, exactly. Practice your powers of observation.
Because observation is a superpower. I'm telling you. Observation is a superpower.
Any other ahas, epiphanies, inputs on this before we try and squeeze in all three tonight? Well, this'll, hey Mo, glad you could join us, brother. This last one, tasty poisons. And this came also as a multifaceted topic because in the relationship department, I've been guilty of being attracted to candy-coated psychosis. Woo, they're fun. Yeah. But there's also not only personalities that we become addicted to, personality styles. This can be applied to all sorts of stuff. Foods, drugs, all the above. And even like with people that come to me for smoke cessation, I ask them first on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being I want to quit 2 years ago, and 1 being I don't want to quit at all. I enjoy the shit out of it. I ask them that because if you really enjoy what it is, then it doesn't matter nearly as much. I smoked for many years, but I found out what I enjoyed about it, and it wasn't worth keeping smoking. My grandfather smoked for probably 80 years, and that's not an exaggeration by any means. And he thoroughly enjoyed it, and it wasn't what killed him. I then basically he checked out because of his expiration date. I mean, 94 years old and hard labor his entire life. So, but the reason I bring this up is when I talk to people that smoke, I like to ask them like, hey, you remember that first time you lit up a ciggy and took a nice big puff, inhaled, and was it like, oh, this is amazing, I can do this for the rest of my life? Or did you do like I did and hawk and cough up a spleen and turn green and maybe threw up?
So for me, it was like a kind of disgusting, and I did cough, but my brain said the chicks are going to be worth it,
There.
right? And I kept going.
Yeah, you said it exactly. And I remember doing the exact same thing. When they asked me why I did it, I said, because the chicks dig it. But it took quite a while before my body could accept the poison. And for a while there, man, I was young, dumb, and bulletproof senior in high school with a cope ring in my back pocket from Copenhagen and smoking Pall Mall straights and smoking a pipe and anything else I could light. But it also applies to personality types of people. One of the things when I'm working with clients for relationship is also getting them to change their addiction to poisonous, toxic personalities. They become so accustomed to the the narcissists, the alcoholics. It's so common to see somebody in a relationship with an alcoholic, break up with them. Yes, exactly, Elijah, because it's familiar. It's almost like a tasty poison. They'll break up with a severe alcoholic, and all of a sudden, right back into another relationship with an abusive alcoholic. And everybody's like, didn't you learn your lesson? It was familiar. And sometimes we learn in our childhood what type of attention is acceptable attention. If you grow up in a family where they're very attentive, caring, loving, affirming, all the above, you learn that is what love is. If you grow up in a dysfunctional family where there's a lot of yelling and screaming, and the only way that you got any attention was if you broke a dish or something, and all of a sudden they notice you and they yell at you, or worse, all of a sudden you're like, well, I got attention. Hey, I guess if I want attention, I have to do bad things. And Elijah put in, so how can you change what's familiar, Elijah? I hear you asking. Yes, go ahead. I would.
Repetition, 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 commitment, consistency, just over and over and over and over and over again. Because that's how you got conditioned in the first place.
Right.
And this is one of the areas where hypnosis really, really, really does excel. Because you can do 10,000 repetitions in a space of 5 seconds. Do you know what I mean? Or a minute or whatever. So
Yeah.
once you get into that trance state, your unconscious mind can do that many that quickly, you know. And then, you know, you repeat the trance a few times, and before you know it, you start thinking differently. But that's only the beginning. That doesn't mean you stop there. You keep going, you keep going, you keep going, you keep going.
Yeah.
Right?
And going back to figuring out where the source, where the cause, where it all started.
I don't believe in that anymore.
I do, but
I don't believe in root cause anymore.
yeah. When I've got clients that are attracted to these type of abusive narcissists, and we go back and figure out, well, who was it in your life that, oftentimes it's a family member, and nothing against the family members. They did the best they could at the time with the tools, knowledge, and energy they had available to them. But just because you grew up in a dysfunctional family of narcissists that trained you that that's what love is, doesn't mean that you have to continue with that as your definition of love. And so you can look at the past and go, that's where that came from. What did I learn? Can I keep the lessons and let the rest of the schmutz go? And when I have my clients look at what they're looking for and start putting their journal together of who their perfect partner is, I let them know. You can pull traits and information from anywhere. Even movies are like, oh, but that's not real. Why not? I've actually seen some couples that at the time I thought were nauseatingly amazing. And I spent enough time around them to find out that it wasn't a show for people in public. Even in private, they talked very kindly to each other. They were extremely respectful of each other. And if I could go back and interview them and work with them, I would not be surprised if it was modeled for them by their parents. And so I let my clients know that's not out of bounds to ask for, but you also have to be the person that can uphold that kind of relationship. Be the partner that that kind of a partner would deserve and want and look for. I know, because I had to do some work on me when I was looking to improve my relationship, because I looked at a lot of my former relationships and realized there was a common denominator. And there was some programs in there that when I did some deep digging, I figured out where they were from. And I had to make some adjustments, do some changes, make sure that I didn't end up keep doing the same thing. Because I had been blessed with spending time with some amazing women. And a good portion of the women that I dated married the very next guy that they went into a relationship with. I always joked I was the preparer. So, any input or ahas, opinions, things you like, anybody want to share on that? Wow, 8 minutes left and we're got 3 in. For the clients that I've worked with that come to me for relationships, one of the things that I have had them do is take a close look at not only the relationships they've been in romantically, but the relationships they've been in with friends, family, and look for the commonalities, both good and less than positive, and decide, is this the track, the road that you want to stay on from here forward? If not, we go right back through all of the topics tonight. Rebuild your tribe. If you're looking to date somebody, I recommend trying out getting a hold of me or somebody else for the Triple P protocol. Set yourself for a year of non-committed relationship. Build your tribe in a way that you will find your person in your tribe. Spend time, meet new people, build a new tribe intentionally. Always be testing. Don't try to change who they are. Don't try changing the card. If they show you that they're an 8, they're an 8. Let them be an 8. They're somebody else's king or queen. And keep building that up, looking at what you want out of your life, out of your future, and what is it in your life or future that you can improve for not only you, but the people in your tribe. So you can start attracting a new group of people that will encourage you for the right reasons. And you don't have to accept everybody you meet, but challenge yourself to have a tribe that in a year you look around and you're like, wow, I've got a whole new group. And they're nothing like the old group. And we're constantly pushing each other upward and forward to a better life. Any comments? Mark?
Yeah, just a little aside. Back in the day, just after the fall of Rome, when you and I were young, DJ,
A couple days
we'd
ago.
have a social circle, of friends and acquaintances, and usually you were introduced to your future missus from someone in your tribe or social circle, or somebody they knew, and said, oh, hey, Mark's not, he's not seeing anybody right now. This girl would be perfect for him. And then you get introduced at a barbecue or something. But it's usually that social circle. If you're not, I always tell clients, if you don't have anybody who's got potential in your social circle, make it bigger. Go outside, like you would say, go outside the tribe, take a new class, find other people, to make your social circle bigger. And eventually you'd find that one.
Yeah. But TJ, you don't understand. I live out in the middle of nowhere. I can't meet anybody. Well, there's online classes now, and look at how spread out we are here. We got East Coast, West Coast, Mid Central, the UK, there's ways to meet people now. And if you're taking a class or doing something like that, there's a commonality. And there's classes for everything online now. I'm pretty sure you could take a class for underwater basket weaving online now. And yes, we'll have Australia hopefully joining us soon. So there'll always be excuses. But the excuses are in the comfort zone, and unfortunately nothing grows there. You'll either have results or you'll have excuses, but you don't usually get both. And when you're ready, you can turn your mic on and comment. Any other ahas, epiphanies with the 2 minutes left? Bless you. Before we, Holly.
Just a quick thought. What you said about just because they're your 8 doesn't, they are somebody else's king. Yep. I think that's something that's really important for at least people like me to remember, because sometimes I get that guilt of, oh no, they're only an 8 and that's so insulting to them and I should treat them like a king. And also on the flip side, I might be their 8 and I don't necessarily need to say that means I'm worthless. It just means we're not a good match. And I think that was a very important thing for me to hear, to just remind myself of that.
Yeah. You don't have to prove yourself to anybody but yourself. Keep improving yourself for you. Your tribe will show up if you're looking for them. That's the other thing I forgot to point out is so many people, I can't meet anybody. Like, when's the last time you made any attempt to meet people? Well, it's so hard. Well, when's the last time somebody came to your apartment, knocked on the door and said, hi, we don't know each other, but I just been drawn here to help improve your tribe? No, it does take some work. I want to win the lottery. Okay, when's the last time you bought a ticket? But I have to leave the house to do that. Well, yep, you're right. But if you don't buy a ticket, chances are pretty good you're probably not going to win. And that being said, we're at the top of the hour, which means it's time to move into hour number 2, where anybody on the call gets to bring up topics, questions, and those on the call get to answer first. And I didn't see any questions or topics in the comments. So, anybody got something for us? Mark.
Since it leads in from the topics tonight, what is everybody's opinion of online dating? The pros, the cons, the benefits, some of the some of the landmines, and the pitfalls of online dating.
Oh, this will be fun. Who's got something for Mark? Mike.
Mark, what specifically are you looking for?
I just wanted everybody's opinion on it. I was talking to a fellow that's on 3 dating sites. He's, not divorced. He doesn't really looking for a serious relationship, and he was all about, getting on to these sites like, I don't know, Tinder, Fish in the Sea, and meeting people. But again, it in some cases it's a long distance relationship. What would be some of the the pitfalls in that? What would be the the things? It's just a buddy of mine, and he was talking up the benefits of the online dating, and I haven't been in that arena for a good 50 years. So I just want to know what's the new stuff, So it's an informational question.
So real quick, I can't talk about the recent 10 years, but I can say I met my wife on Match.com, and I basically want to put the least amount of information, because I've done lots of things, and so when I was doing it, I put the least amount, and that's how I got the most attention. And Jessica was my 3rd date here in California, so it was kind of cool. Now you look at the new programs like Tinder and these other things where you swipe right, swipe left, and I think those are just like more dating, more hookup situations. It's like, oh, I like this one. Oh, you like me too? All right, let's meet up. And there's nothing to it except a hookup. So
he said he always puts on his profile, I used to be young and skinny and poor, and I'm none of those things now. And that gets him a lot of responses.
So he's looking for a lot of bullshit right there. So crazy.
Anybody else got anything for him? I got lots, but
Genuinely, I have no experience in that area, so I can't, like, you know, none.
I think online dating has its place, obviously. I mean, Michael proved it. It also will, help for people that haven't quite gotten their communication skills up yet. Or if you live in a rather remote location where you've already met all three of the single people around you and realize that all three of them are single for a reason. So there is that. And I find it interesting how people describe themselves on these online apps. And what I've found is humor and showing that you're fun for guys is usually the most effective. A lot of guys try to get too salesy, like, oh, here's my description and here's what I look like and I'm into da 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 and I do this, this, and this, and this, and a lot of the guys that are more successful about it is like, I want to go out and have as much fun as possible, live life to the fullest, and do you want to join me on the ride? And of course, now with all these filters and stuff and AI, a lot of people are like, if you don't look like this when you show up, you're buying. Back in the day, I did some online dating and got a little gun shy because they were false advertising. Woo! I was like, "Hi, who are you? I'm your date. Who's this?" Well, that's a picture of me from about 12 years ago. She still available? And so if you're looking for a companion to do something with, I think there's a lot more freedom there. For my clients that are coming to me because they really are tired of dating the same person in a different meat suit, that's another reason why I make them take a year off from being in a committed relationship. But the online dating can still fit in there because it's good practice. As long as their mindset stays open to these are practice dates, you may find a place in my tribe, but I'm not going to put a whole lot of, I guess, money down on whether or not you're going to be my king right off the bat. So I'm going to keep my distance and I'm going to be testing much more than normal. Does that make sense? Any other input, ahas, on that? Now that we burned up a whole 8 minutes into our
It's probably a good opportunity to practice 3 magic questions, especially like the long distance one people.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yep. And for those of you wondering what 3 magic questions is, or the trifecta, get a hold of us. We're not going to teach the class tonight, but for Echo Talk, 3 Magic Questions, Values and Criteria Elicitation is paramount in communication these days. I should say always has been, always will be, as far as I'm concerned. And Mike, I like your little comment, 50 years ago of online dating is belly up to the bar. Yep. Or if you grew up in a town like I did, or like Mark was talking, there always seemed to be one matchmaker in town going, you know who'd be just really good? Those two should meet. They're both single, come from a good family. Yeah, that'd be a good combination. And thank you, Lenora, for a quick little note she sent me that we did cover the trifecta quite a bit in the archives of Triple T. So if you go in and look it up, we've had some people working diligently on making sure that all of the recordings are properly titled with timestamps.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, getting there.
I'm that guy, dude. These days I expect timestamps, and it's really cool that you're doing it. It's really, because some of the biggest YouTube channels are still not doing timestamps, and I'm like, what the hell?
Well, it helps me out too, because I'm like, where did somebody was asking me about that, and I'm like, yeah, it's somewhere in this 2-hour section. I would probably look right around here. So, okay. Who else has a question or topic we can work on? Lenora.
So something that I had noticed, and I will share openly with you all because you're amazing and I adore you to pieces. I got really frustrated with myself last week and my lack of consistency in posting. And I would make everything more important than my business, my coaching, me reaching out to people, me making content to put out so that other people could find me. I would put everything possible for it. And I was getting pissed at myself to the point that I was doing my best to remain in a controlled state without slamming something. And so I did some quick math, and I now have a countdown on my phone. For those of you who are interested, there are 148 days until the first of the year. So when I had realized this, there were 153 days to the first of the year. And I had then decided that I was going to make a commitment to myself to post something every single day on social media. I'm 5 days deep, and I'm pretty proud to say I have held true to this. So if anybody would like to join me in this challenge of figuring out if whatever you want to do, and you have now 148 days to the first of the year, you're welcome to jump on the bandwagon. That is my challenge as of this week that I offer to the rest of you. And especially when I think it was Holly that started the call about getting pushed out of the comfort zone. And it's not so much getting pushed out of the comfort zone, it's doing other things that keep getting me pushed out of the comfort zone, because I need that and I like that. And if anybody has any other challenges, the other one that I did was I had created an audio for myself last summer. And I was like, I'm going to listen to this every day for 6 weeks. Didn't even make it a whole week. So now I have added to that. So adding something else, I'm hopeful that it will continue to help me. I love what you guys said earlier about repetition and consistency and recognition. And I messaged Elijah because he has this beautiful rhythm and rhyme from many he taught it to me a couple of years ago, many years ago. I think we've known each other for about 3 years, however long Triple T is. So we're on 2 years, going on 3.
Yep.
And he goes, The unconscious mind loves rhythm, repetition, repetition, and rhyme. The unconscious mind loves rhythm, repetition, repetition, and rhyme. And it's really, really catchy. So that is something else that I'm now trying to figure out a mantra that I can just like pick up and keep going with me. Because I noticed my own thoughts adding to this. I had to do something and I did not want to do it. And I don't think it was related to posting, but whatever it was, I was like, yeah, this is going to be great. This is going to be great. And I just kept repeating it and I would snap at the same time every time I said it to really help redrive my focus as to where I wanted my focus to be. So those are the latest and greatest things that are happening here in central Pennsylvania, in my hometown.
That's awesome.
So any insights,
Do you
challenges,
make
anybody want
do
to
you make
jump on
content in
board?
batches?
I don't. However, I will say that the infamous Jason Linett is his rules are establish a rhythm, set the rules, batch in modes, schedule, automate, and hire is step number 4. And step number 5 is break the rules when you have a good reason.
So here's the thing: the reason why I recommend making content in batches is so that you have 6 or 10 more like that. If you have a bad day sometimes, because life happens,
Mm-hmm.
if you've got 6 or 10 other things that you've recorded already in a previous batch,
Yeah.
you don't feel up to recording that day because life happens. You've
Yeah, for
still
sure.
got some in reserve that you could just, oh, I didn't miss a day,
Yeah.
right? Or
Yeah,
if
that's
you
a great
wanted
idea.
if you wanted to take like a week off and you have 7 extra pieces of content, you could actually
Mm-hmm.
take a whole week off and still upload every day,
Yeah.
right?
I love it. Thank
So
you. Yes,
yeah,
I do
batch
need to
content.
batch in modes.
Right. I mean, if you're in my point is like if you're in that mode, like you're saying, you snap the fingers and you're in that
Mm-hmm.
mode, and
Yeah.
like if you're on fire, just keep recording.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great
Right?
point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great tip.
Want to
Who
join in?
else? Mark.
I was going to say, and when you're batching in mode, create loops so that, and don't close the loop. We'll tune in next time, and you'll get the answer to that, or so create open loops, and then the next time I post, I'll address that, or so create an open loop, and and then in the next time you post, address that, and for those of you who are wondering about that loop that I opened, then you can close it. Then you can just keep doing that.
Awesome. Love that.
And
Thank you.
also, sorry, Mark, that's genius, right? Also, when people haven't seen it, you know what I mean? Like you're closing the loop, and you're like, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, check out this other video
Yep.
that I
Yeah.
did just the other day, and you get people to kind of watch multiple of your contents, 1 or 2 or 3 in a row, and the moment the algorithm picks up that they are interested in the channel, the algorithm's
Okay.
going to start recommending that channel to them. You know
Awesome.
what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. Thank you.
Who else?
Anybody
has
going to
something?
join in with the challenge?
Me?
Anybody want to do anything else for 148 days? What do you want to commit to? It didn't have to be social media. Want to commit?
I want to
On my own little
reverse type
Telegram
2
group.
diabetes, right? So I have type 2 diabetes, and my sugar
Aw.
levels are coming down. I'm doing pretty well. I'm on a bit of a winning streak, but I'm trying to keep it quiet. So putting it all over YouTube right now is the best idea, clearly.
We love it. We're giving good
But
energies back to you.
so my birthday is
Coming up.
mid to late February,
Oh
and
no.
I'm hoping to be in remission, like get my blood test done. Doctor says, "Oh, your diabetes is gone by my birthday."
It's an amazing goal. I'm
Yep.
loving it.
So that's closer to 200 some days, right? So but we're going. I'm really going for it.
Good answer.
Awesome.
I'm really going for it.
That's what we're going to call our Telegram group. Going for it.
Who else has something for? Holly.
I was gonna say if Oh, gosh, my mind just blanked. Sorry, I had something I was gonna say. If it comes back, I'll let you know.
Squirrel. One thing I was going to point out that I've ended up doing is I take a lot of little inspirations when I'm out and about and put little notes in my phone. So that's where some of these topics show up. Some of them, as you know, come from clients. So when you're putting together, getting ideas for your little reels and things like that, pay close attention, be thinking about it all the time as to what is it about my day that I could turn into a reel. And I ain't gonna lie, it takes a little discipline because there are times where I'll be busy doing something and I'll be like, oh, that'd be a good talk. I should write that down. 5 minutes later, oh, what was that?
Last year I learned 2 very important lessons. I don't quite remember the first one, but the second one is definitely to write shit down.
Yeah, right? Holly.
Okay, I have a memory now. So basically, what I was gonna say is one of the cool things about the number of days that are left. I was reading an article once, so they talked about different habits take different amount of time to last. But basically, you could start any habit in basically 127 days. And so what I kind of want to do is go back to what I did years ago. I created a little booklet that I just printed off. I just got an Excel and made a bunch of squares. And then I went to the store and got a bunch of stickers that I love. And then the idea is every single time I'm successful, put it in there. And, maybe I'll do 148, maybe I'll do 127. But one of the other cool things about it too is just keep in mind, as they say, as long as you could actually skip occasional days. So say you forgot or you got sick or, whatever the case may be. The key habit is as long as you don't skip 2 days, you should be fine. So I think, other people, they could say, oh, I'm going to do this every day till the end of the year. But I think what I'm going to do with mine is just say, hey, if I skip a day, then I'll go into January and I'll just do it till I fill up my book. So.
Very cool. Great
And I love-
Anybody else? Okay, go ahead.
I had something to add. Like Elijah, I tell people all the time that this leaks. So if I have a millisecond of brilliance, I don't want to tilt my head because it might fall out, and so I write it down. And I always have a sticky pad with me and a pen. So when one of those milliseconds of brilliance comes along, when the neurons go, oh, that's great. I got to write that down, So just create a habit. I always carry a pad of stickies with me and a pen, so I don't lose anything.
Well, that's why I have to keep remembering that I have this thing with me with a notepad in it where I can type stuff in quick. Elijah.
Yeah, I was going to say. So I went on WhatsApp. You don't have to use WhatsApp. You can use any of these kind of chat apps. And I invited my brother and made a group chat. And as soon as he joined, I kicked him out. And so I now have a group chat where there's nobody in there but me. And what I do is I pin it at the top of my list. So at the top of all my chats is a group chat with just me in it. And all day long, I'm just going in there, holding the microphone and making little voice notes to myself. And then I go back and listen to them, sometimes months later, years later. And it really captures what I was. It's like a voice, captain's log, blah, 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 whatever, right? It's like a voice diary. And some of the stuff that I said 2, 3 years ago is really profound. And I was like, oh, I was in the zone that back then. So, your phone is something you always have with you pretty much wherever you go anyway, or at least the young people do. Use it.
Very much so. Awesome. I hadn't even thought of that angle. That's a great tip.
Yeah. I've got, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stickies. And I was thinking if I ever write my book, I've taken them and I've put them in different folders. And I figure you take that millisecond of brilliance and then you flesh it out into a few paragraphs, a few pages, and maybe an entire chapter. And I figure if I ever get around to writing my book, it's already written. I just have to go into the file.
Absolutely. And Richard Nongard has a class for writing books that he keeps bringing back up because I told him at Hypnothoughts Live I'm probably going to have to get my butt signed up for his class because I have 2 books that are already about 50% done. I just don't know how to finish them. So, yeah, another finding ways outside of the norm to get things done. There's so many, always at least 3 solutions to every event, situation, or problem that may occur. Michael.
PJ, really quick. If you did know how to close your book, what would it look like?
It would look like signing up for Richard's class because he shows how to get in touch with the publishers and printing and everything. So,
And have discussions in the past that some action is better than no action.
yes.
So even if you did it incorrectly, would that be a bad thing?
No, yeah, because an imperfect something will always be better than a perfect nothing.
What are we waiting for?
The class. I ain't lying.
Videos.
I know thyself. So yeah.
Well, we're here. We're pushing.
Yep. And I appreciate that. That's why I
I'll
gathered
buy a copy.
a tribe that will help push me to be a better person. Mark.
Wayne Dyer used to do it. He'd come up with a title for a book, and he would get a blank. He'd get the book jacket, printed up, and he'd put it on an empty book. So in his mind, the book was already written. He just had to fill in the pages.
Great idea. And Dyer was a prolific writer and typed it all up on an old typewriter. Even when the computers were out, he said there was something that he needed out of the feel of the old typewriter to type it up.
Stephen King made a habit of writing. I think it's 30 when he was living in a trailer and he didn't have any money. He was living in a trailer and he made a habit. He couldn't go to sleep that night without having typed out, I think it was 3,200 words. And
Yeah, he was a
wouldn't
machine.
allow himself. Yeah, he wouldn't allow himself. He's got books he's never
Absolutely.
published, but he created that habit, that pattern, that
Yeah.
and he was able to become very prolific, as Elijah's saying, simply by living up to that mantra. Can't go to sleep until I've got those words written.
Back to Wayne Dyer really quick. He would also channel his source. So like when he did was it Lu Chang or Ling Chang, the way of the Tao.
Yep.
Dao
I
to
mean,
Ching.
there we go. And so he would do things like we've learned with David, where you go into a session and you're like, okay, what would this person do? And kind of cool.
Yep. Yep.
I have a similar one, like Mark was saying about Stephen King can't go to bed without writing X number of words. I have a similar. I can't go to bed until I've been to Triple T. You
You're
can't
awesome.
do it.
That's a great one. I love that one.
Okay, we got half the hour left. What else can we bring up for? Yes, Lenora.
I know it popped away for a moment. Did we ever go back to Holly's initial one of things that are worth investing versus considering them expenditures or expenses?
Oh. No, we did not.
I was like, was that O going?
Well, it wasn't in the chat, and the squirrels took it away. All right, so who's got Holly? Do you want to re-ask the question, or?
Okay, so I actually had a different question in mind for the second hour. But I mean, I'll go back to basically, I was just kind of thinking about the difference between when we approach spending money. So many times people look at things that really are investments as expenditures. Also,
Your mic's cutting out.
oh no, is that any better?
We'll find out.
I was just originally saying that a theme for my life this past week has been this idea of that, first of all, that it's okay to spend money, but also the importance of looking at things that a lot of the things that I needed to spend money on were really investments in myself.
There.
And I had been treating them as though they were expenditures. And when you don't have the investment, you don't get the return on investment. I was kind of leaning towards a different question for the second hour, but if we want to explore that topic, if people want to tell me what your opinions are, I'm totally fine with that too.
Okay, who's got something for Holly? Lenora.
One reel that I came across had said to get rid of that word out of your vocabulary, spending. And they said that it's not spending, eliminate the word, you're circulating. You're circulating money, that you're constantly moving it because money's going in and money's coming out. And another one that I had written down, and I love that you shared it, Holly, because mine has shifted over the years, and I don't know why I thought it was going to be like an easier shift than what it's been, but it's been quite the money journey. And realizing that investing in myself is important, and then I had to dig even deeper, and it's still one that I really find peels back layers. And what if I look at it and go, I'm not worth investing in, I'm not worthy of it, I'm not worth it, I sit with that, and I won't lie, it's a little painful. It's definitely one where I bring my friends to come to the party, because it does get a bit emotional in clearing that, or even in looking at it, even sitting with it. And it's not one that, just shifted immediately. It's definitely one that happens to be kind of like chiseling away at it over time. But noticing and really allowing in, if I was able to allow myself to realize that I was worth investing in, what might that feel like? And it comes up, and it was a couple of months ago, I think back in the beginning of May, that when I really sat with it, I won't lie, I was in a ball crying in overwhelming gratitude and overwhelming realization of, oh my God. And it almost was like letting light into this very, very, very dark space that I'd never let light into. So it's not the money. It's deeper than that, as in what makes me think I'm not worth investing in, or what makes us think that we're not worth investing time and energy, and where did that come from? And that's usually where I tend to migrate if I'm working to clear something in that way. My thoughts.
Great explanation. Who else has something for Holly? I like the way that you asked it regarding investment versus expenditure. And a lot of times when people, like Lenora pointed out, look at their values and criteria and the words that they use around that, spending money on versus investing the money, it can change a lot of how you perceive what is being done with the money. Circulating the money, I thought that's brilliant.
Freaking genius.
Yeah, because there is so much money on this planet that drug dealers have houses with $100 bills filling up bedrooms.
And it's always creating more, right? So if you think about circular, like let's say, sorry, TJ, may I?
No,
Okay, let's say you buy a plot of land and decide you're going to build a castle there, right? And you're going to obviously spend money with an architect, and you're going to spend money with engineers, and you're going to spend money with masons and bricklayers, and when it's eventually built, then electricians and glazers to put the glass in and the windows and stuff. And eventually, once it's completely built, you're going to have to then pay for the upkeep, right? So like the gardener and all that stuff. But none of that is expenditure, because all of that money, like you said, it's kind of getting circulated. Is the castle that was eventually built not worth more than the land that it was built upon? And is the land next to the castle now not worth more because now there's a castle next to it? So the abundance and it's there's unlimited amount of wealth, and it keeps growing. So never feel like there's not enough for you, because it's multiplying every day, every second, every minute. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think one of the other mistakes people make is they focus on the currency of money and forget about the currency of all the other things. You know, back in the day before the coins and everything, there was a lot of bartering going on. And that has the same value as well, if you can see the value. Investing in other people, knowing that they've got your back and they will return the investment, is also another way of investing in yourself. Lenora.
I think it goes together, especially the way that you just said that, allowing yourself to invest in other people and know that they have your back. That again is building trust that they have that. So you're still always testing. You're building trust in other people, but you're building trust in yourself, in your own resiliency. And then you're also building trust in the universe as well as yourself, because you're trying to pay attention to the signs that say, hey, you're doing well, or hey, you know what, you need to pay attention here and you need to focus on this area. So I think it really goes together, and it had not gone together completely before. Yeah. It was always like money was out here. And now it really just came together the way that you had said that. Bananas, there was something else I was going to say.
Squirrel. It'll come
Oh.
back to you quickly. There it is.
I wrote it down. See, a slew of notes here. Elijah had said, oh, I think you were both talking. You both had said that we're creating more. The world is always creating more money. That, and if you're so especially when we come to time, because time has been a little wonky for me over trying to process it over the last couple of days. You're constantly stepping into a new timeline, right? So then, therefore, money is constantly being present in those timelines. Any thoughts on that one? Can someone piece that together for me if they understood anything that I was saying?
Stepping into new, I would say you're creating the path as you walk it, because right now you have so many choices.
Yeah.
You could stay on the call, you could turn off your camera, you could get up and walk away, you could go to bed, you could whatever, right? And you're going to make one of those choices, hopefully staying here, listening, staying till the end of the call, right? But that's a step. And had you decided maybe to get up and walk away, then you'd create a new, different reality than the one that you have created that was taking this particular step.
Mm-hmm.
But now that you've taken that step, a whole bunch of other options open up to you.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, for example, instead of staying on this call, I decide to get up and go for a walk outside. Right? Suddenly, while I'm outside, maybe I see a fox in the neighborhood, or maybe I see, I don't know, whatever, right? The point is, it's a multiplicity. You have all this choice, but then once you've taken made even one choice, now you again have all this other choice. So you're creating the path as you walk it. Does that make sense? Is that what you meant
sure.
by step it? Well, I don't know. I can't remember what phrase you
No,
used.
no, I'm following you completely. When you said multiplicity, my brain also went to a squirrel of going, did he ever see the movie Multiplicity?
I did with Michael Keaton.
Yeah, you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, because if you're constantly stepping into a new timeline, then.
But you're not. That's the thing. You're forever in now. This is what the whole class was about the other week, right? Because people seem to think that the past is this big thing, and the future is all this potential, and that now is some kind of tiny infinitesimal moment between the past and the future. But actually, now is all you have. It's all you've ever had. It's the biggest part.
So now is right now. Okay.
Now is right now.
Okay. Now, what are your thoughts on how things grow?
They grow now, based on what you're doing.
They do grow now, but things take time, right? So would you say things take time or things take now?
Well, depends how you want to measure it. So we have a habit.
Like I didn't get to part 2, 3, or 4 yet.
We have a habit of defining a beginning and an end of whatever it is we're talking about.
Yes.
So let's say we talk about, I don't know, I made $100,000, right? But am I talking about in my life? Am I talking about just last year? Am I talking about just last week? And people have a tendency when they talk, especially when they talk about problems or when they talk about things, they talk about it as if it's forever, but really in their head, there's a boundary condition on it.
Okay.
So what would happen if you were to remove that boundary condition?
Okay.
Does it make sense? There's so much more potential. It's kind of like, how many different ways can you look at it?
I'm gonna have to go back and watch video 2, 3, and 4.
Because you said just now, I can't even remember what you said. I'm such a bad hypnotist.
The time benders.
Yeah, right. Squirrels, more squirrels.
The trance breakers and the time benders.
It's only 1:45 in the morning, so I'm doing pretty well, I think. And I somehow lost all my hair, right?
Now,
yeah. I just lost it now. It was here all this time, and it's just gone now. So you said something about creating wealth, right?
Yes.
And that things can take time. But like,
Yes.
how are you going to measure it? Are you like it's up to you how you measure it,
For sure.
right?
Uh-huh. But doesn't
So,
it so for example, a plant.
okay,
You put a seed in the ground and you want it to blossom into a tulip. First thing that came to
right.
my mind. That takes time. You can't change those time boundaries.
But you can make sure that it definitely happens by paying attention to it now, making sure it gets plenty
Okay,
of
you can make
sunlight,
sure it definitely
making
happens
sure it's
by
getting
paying attention now.
water, right? So you are continually in the now doing whatever you need to do to ensure that that potential is reached at some point.
Okay.
It's not like you just put the seed in the soil and then just leave it.
Okay, so I have a tendency sometimes to say, okay, well, like I've had about what feels like a million day ones, rather than recognizing, no, I've been doing this. I'm focused on it now, and I'm just like you said, you can make sure that it happens by doing it now, by focusing on it now.
Hmm.
Okay, so then how do I stop changing this stupid shit?
How do
And
you stop
like
what? Sorry? How do you stop what?
changing this stupid shit. So like the boundary over here that I keep saying, oh,
See, you said you've had a million day ones. You put a
yes.
boundary on it. It's kind of like maybe you were on a track and then something happened and you fell off the track and you decided to then say, "Oh, okay, looks like we're back at day one." But you're not, are you?
No, and that's what I need to notice. That's what I need to remind myself of in the now, that I'm not.
Right. So if you're not, then what are you?
If I'm not, what am I?
If
If
you're not
I'm
at
not
day one, then what
one,
are
then I'm
you?
in am I in the now?
You're someone who learned to stand up again after she fell.
Okay.
And
I
that's
like that one.
strength. That's
Okay.
perseverance. That's determination. That's relentlessness. That's drive. Have you been paying attention now to all the good things or the good ways you could be interpreting your experience rather than saying, oh my God, we're back at day one? It's how many different ways can you see the same thing now?
Ooh, ooh. Running out of room. I'm gonna have to flip the page. How many different ways?
Can you see the same thing
Oh,
now?
this is recorded, TJ. Can you see? Got it.
Why is it that people that believe that there's prosperity and plenty of money seem to magically find plenty of money in their future? Mike put it really beautifully in the comments. Invest in your future and pay the maintenance to have it mature.
So it would be paying the maintenance fee in the now. Paying maintenance your maintenance fee now.
I love it. Your brain's working.
Shit.
It's really good.
Thank God, guys.
And somewhere out there in YouTube land, whether somebody's watching this live or watching the recording, they just went,
I can
welcome
see,
to Triple T,
I can
folks.
see the hamster running on the wheel in your head.
Well, the bad thing about the hamster wheel is that it's a wheel and it just keeps going around and around. So if it was a track, if we were laying track here, or we were, putting down a brick or something, this might go a little bit smoother.
I just meant to say the gears are turning. You're learning, aren't you?
In the
Now.
now.
Mark,
Mark.
Mark.
I was going to say, even though you're the hamster on the wheel, you could be, combining a couple of metaphors. So you could be spreading seeds. You start in because you have to always plant the seeds in the now. And then pay the maintenance so the orchid will grow. So you're always in the now. That's the only thing you can control. You can't control the past. Elijah, again, genius, but and the future's not written. It's being created moment to moment by you being in the now and then just moving forward.
That's very Doc Brown of you when you said your future is not written yet.
Right.
You know my movie reference?
Of course, Back to the
Thank
Future.
goodness. Oh, gonna go into panic if you didn't.
I used to play. I catch your drift. I used to play left drift in high school.
Ba-dum-bum.
Bum. You get all the movie references, but you got to enjoy being in the now, so you can create a compelling future.
Oh, that's a good one too. There's another one somewhere. I have to write it. I have to look it up.
Holly's got her hand up.
Just to mix this up a little bit more too, just for what it's worth, the past is always being written too and rewritten. Our memory of the past is not right. It's not accurate, and we can always update it. And how do you know you didn't plant that tulip, 6 months ago? And what's it like now that you realize that you planted it 6 months ago and you're getting to see it in full bloom and pick it now?
Yes.
And that's the that's the expenditure versus the investment to close the loop.
Because by the time you think you've had an idea, your unconscious mind probably been working on it for weeks.
And to tag on that, an idea whose time has come will show up regardless of who makes it happen. They've proven this many times.
What is that phrase that people say? The sum of the parts is greater than the whole.
The whole is greater than the sum of the parts.
Thank you for understanding me. Can you?
Synergistic.
Yeah, because
Synergy.
it combines. Yeah.
I'm like a terrible Rubik's Cube tonight. I'm not doing very well. Okay, so wait. Can you break that down? The way that you said it correctly.
We are all brilliant coaches and enthusiasts of hypnosis and other modalities that help people change. We're all brilliant, but combined together in this group, we are greater than the sum of all of us.
Yes, exactly.
As a combination, we become even more. So the whole is greater than the sum of the parts.
In the now.
Another metaphor way to look at it. How many parts are in the car? The car is the whole of the sum of the parts. If you just take a wheel, you can't travel just as far as you can with the car, because the whole is better than the sum of the parts.
Yeah, even if you had all of the parts that are required to make a car, they would be useless unless they were combined and actually a car.
Yes. That's why it sometimes takes a village to accomplish things. It's also why, if you're the smartest person in the room, it's a good time to change rooms. Like Michael put in there, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, and then Elijah and a true master is forever a student. Yes. Keep learning, keep growing, keep being challenged. If you're not growing, you're dying. Mark.
And it doesn't matter where you are on the you know, the double helix. Because one of the old kung fu masters used to say, you measure a circle beginning anywhere. So it doesn't matter where you're at, as long as you're in the now and moving forward, you know, you'll continue to evolve.
Great quote. Fran.
And your comment about changing rooms, or you can change to have 2 rooms and teach the room that you're in, that you're smarter than. And it is amazing, referring to Elijah, how much you learn from your students and how much you learn from teaching your students. That's really expansive.
That's why I'm so grateful for you guys on this platform, because the second hour has taught me just as much as anything. So thank you all for that. We got 5 minis left. And I've got, oh, go ahead, Lenora. No,
Good.
please.
I just had a quote I wanted to share.
Yes, go ahead, please.
So I actually learned this quote from a client, and they happen to often be in charge of people, which is a great thing. And as in like great learning from them also. And they had said, allow me to not be perfect at this. That's what he says to his employees. Allow me to not be perfect, which helps them realize, oh, he's human too. And he even says, if I'm not communicating to you, let me know. You need to tell me if you don't understand something. Allow me to be human. And I thought that was such a beautiful thing to share with people, because so often we hold this, at least I'll speak for myself. I so often hold the standard that it has to be perfect and I have to get everything right. And that, you know, if I don't solve all the problems immediately in one shot, then I'm terrible at this. Then saying, oh, it's okay, I'm human. There's only so many things that I can understand, and only so many things that I can do here and now with the tools, time, knowledge, and energy available to me.
And more than that, it means we're all on the journey together. We're all learning. It takes the division between us and them. And that's all we are. You know, sometimes we forget, and sometimes we get a bit up ourselves. We're all on the same journey.
I love that.
Yes, absolutely. And I also want to point out the medical industry now has validated big time that there's a portion of your brain that grows in proportion to the amount of challenges that you take on. It also shrinks when you stop taking on challenges. So challenging yourself is a very healthy habit to get into.
Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Very much so. Amen.
You know, you were saying earlier, nothing grows in the comfort zone.
Yeah.
The only thing that does grow in the comfort zone is that same reinforcement, the reinforcement of that same familiarity that is the problem you've been trying to get away from.
Yes. And a squirrel delivered this to me. The only thing that grows in the comfort zone is the strength of complacency.
We're all working under the same handicap, Lenora. We're all handicapped because we're human. And you don't have to be perfect. You just, you have to be imperfectly perfect or perfectly imperfect. So you don't have to strive for perfection. Just be the best version of yourself every day in the now.
Yes. Well, kids, we've made it to the end of another Triple T. I am, again, every single week. I'm just, wow, humbled that we've made it 136 times in a row now. And I couldn't have done it without you guys. No offense. I will be honest. I would have probably given up if I was the only one showing up. I would probably made it about four and went, yeah, I'm talking to myself. So it's because of you guys that we made it 136 episodes. And I'll just keep doing this as long as you keep showing up.
I keep showing up as long as you keep doing this.
That's a really good hamster wheel for us to stay on. So this also is my time to thank you for giving so graciously your commodity of time. I always say I don't know how to reproduce it. You'll know as soon as I do, because I will gladly show you how to do it. But until then, thank you for offering your commodity of time on this platform. I appreciate you all so much. Please take care. Go out, enjoy life as much as possible, and keep making this world a much better place. Love you all.
I can go to bed now.
Good night. Thanks, TJ.
Good night, all.
Good night,
Thanks for your
everyone. Awesome class, everyone. Thank you, TJ.
Thanks for your support. Thanks for everything.
You're welcome, my friend.